What's going on, guys? We're back with another YouTube video. So the Supergirl trailer finally came out a couple days ago. You guys saw my reaction. I really liked it. Do I think it was anything groundbreaking? No, not really. But at the end of the day, the casting is solid. The story, at least from what we saw in the teaser, obviously the movie will touch on certain things like her life on Krypton, how Krypton's destruction shaped her view of the world up to this point, and how she evolves from that mindset to become a better person, which I'm very much looking forward to. There's the girl she saves, who will end up being a tag along for her journey, as well as Lobo, who looks absolutely perfect casting and design wise. Other than that, there's not really much there to talk about because, again, it is just a teaser, but I do think it is a very solid teaser that gave us a good little glimpse into what the movie has to offer. Now, obviously there are people who did not like the trailer, which I mean, it's the internet. We kind of saw this coming, especially coming off of the James Gunn Superman movie stuff. Let me make it clear, there's nothing wrong with not liking the trailer. The movie's not going to be for everyone. The issue though really just comes down to the reasoning behind it, and going online there are quite a few bad takes going around. The most popular notion being that Supergirl is apparently too much of a Guardians of the Galaxy ripoff. Now, although there is a similar aesthetic here, I think calling it a ripoff is kind of a reach, especially when we get into, again, the reasoning behind why people are saying stuff like this. So let's just go ahead and get into these and you guys will see what I mean. Do you guys want to know why Supergirl has a Star-Lord jacket to hide her iconic suit? It's because the CEO of DC Studios hates superhero costumes and thinks they're dumb.
What in the hell is this?
No. Believe it or not, the idea of Kara wearing her brown jacket is not something that came from the Guardians movie. In one of the very comics that the movie is adapting and taking from, she is shown wearing a long brown jacket over her suit. In fact, the comic actually opens with her wearing the jacket. Not to mention, I have to say, I don't know what you mean when you say they are trying to hide her iconic suit, quote unquote. You clearly see it in full force near the end of the trailer. They're not trying to hide it at all. Not a great start with this one. The only thing you could say that was quote unquote taken from Guardians, or you could say, is the Walkman, which I just see this as them doing a nod or a reference to a movie. That's not exactly the same as being a ripoff of something. For example, WandaVision casually visually references The Incredibles with a certain scene. Does that make the whole show now an automatic ripoff just because they were paying homage to it? Like, this argument makes literally no sense. In the Supergirl trailer, we also have the brightly colored space bar with our protagonist taking shots. They're not even hiding it anymore.
Is this nigga serious?
And he puts a scene up of Supergirl and Drax drinking at a bar and trying to use this logic to say that Supergirl copied Guardians. Once again, unfortunately, you are wrong for a couple of reasons. Firstly, this came from the comics once again. In Woman of Tomorrow, she does in fact go to an alien bar and she takes shots there. So once again, this is a symptom of you just not bothering to look at the source material. Not to mention, Lobo himself hangs out at alien bars all the time. Like, that's a staple of his character, and it's probably how Supergirl and Lobo end up meeting. If we ignore this, right, why does her going to an alien bar in space all of a sudden make it a Guardians ripoff? Like, by this logic, the Guardians movies themselves copied Star Wars. Really, this just comes down to, again, there's a similar aesthetic. These are all sci-fi adventure movies set in outer space. Of course, they are gonna be some similarities, even some nods from time to time, but that does not make it a direct copy of said thing. She's a drunk that called Superman a bitch, keeping my kids away from this content. Yeah, because superheroes have totally never swear to movies. I mean, that's never happened before. I think your kids will be alright, and if not, well, fuck them kids. They had an opportunity to make Supergirl a wholesome movie with a lead that young girls can look up to. They can't do that because they cannot conceive of women in that way anymore. Men, women, good, bad, it's all just one giant amorphous blob now.
Boy, if you don't...
What the fuck are you saying? Why are you acting like they're turning her into an anti-hero? They're not doing that. They're just showing that she has flaws. Oh no, you mean DC wrote her to be flawed and act how a realistic, quirky girl would. In fact, I would think a movie of her overcoming her flaws and becoming a better person as a result of this would be a wholesome story. Much less a girl traumatized by having to witness the destruction of her home planet as a teenager. She's got survivor's guilt, cultural isolation, and probably some PTSD from having to fucking watch her parents and friends die. Like, it makes sense she would be in a mess like this. You guys do realize Kara is very different from Clark personality-wise. Like, obviously there are some similarities there. You know, they're on the same side, obviously, and they want to do the right thing. But Supergirl has kind of always had a more rebellious and slightly cynical side to her compared to Clark. Again, this is mainly because of the differences in which they grew up, which will likely be highlighted in this film. But there are times where her flaws come to the forefront. In fact, she actually became a Red Lantern at one point because of the various emotional issues and trauma that she had a hard time dealing with. It's really the, you know, iterations like Injustice 2 and CW, which is definitely not anything to go off of, that tend to characterize Kara as like just a female version of what Clark should be. But I'd say other media like My Adventures with Superman, Smallville at some points, and Superman Batman Apocalypse tackle her feelings of isolation and various other issues she deals with pretty well. CW offered us a better portrayal of Supergirl. Who agrees? The Supergirl 2026 trailer had bad music, disrespect of Superman, angsty drunk teen mentality, mid-fight battle scenes, milking the use of CGI animal. Oh, so you think the CW has a better portrayal of Supergirl than the movie? You know what? It is his opinion. If that's what he thinks, then sure. In fact, I'll actually do the guy a solid. We'll actually take a quick little look at the Supergirl show. I haven't watched it in a while, but maybe this guy's right. Maybe he's cooking. Maybe the show is better than the movie visually and writing-wise. Let's see.
When the ones you love turn their back on you, that's...
Agent Blake? Now!
What the hell? Oh my God, no way, yeah.
Seen dark!
So, unfortunately, after taking a quick look at this, I'm gonna have to respectfully disagree with bro on this one. I think the show actually does a disservice to Supergirl based on what we've seen here. It looks like the CW show is actually the one with the bad CGI, the bad music, and the bad fight scenes. Of course, it is your opinion, so if you like the show more, then cool. But saying the show is of better quality than the movie, I mean, there just doesn't seem to be substantial evidence that supports that claim. So we'll just have to go ahead and move on to the next one. Now, apparently there are also some people who felt a certain type of way about the poster of the film. One of them being heel versus babyface, truth, justice, whatever. So sick of this nihilistic, apathetic age of anything but superheroes. Again, how is this nihilistic? All this is a symbolism of her rebellious nature compared to Clark. This literally has no nihilism in it at all. It's just taking a twist on a commonly known phrase to represent a different character. It's supposed to say the American way there. Why exactly? Didn't we have this talk with Captain America and how these various superheroes like this were updated to not just be fighting for the American way, but the values that America should strive to live up to? It's one of the reasons that Superman's motto was changed a long while ago from the American way to a better tomorrow. These are illegal aliens from outer space who are champions of the entire world, not just America. So limiting their scope of morality to the American way is honestly a slap in the face to what these characters stand for, and I'm glad they changed it. Especially if we look at the current state of America today, we're definitely not at a place where good values and leadership align and, you know, making the right decisions. So there's that. First time in history, I'd actually prefer the DEI edgelord multiverse version over the real thing. At least Sasha Calle can act and made me care about the character. Oh my lord, do y'all even know what DEI means at this point? Like, you don't really sound like you care about the character at all if you're just throwing phrases like that around at any female character. Now, I actually do like Sasha Calle's version of the character. In fact, she was probably one of the only good things about the train wreck that is the Flash movie, but Millie's version just seems way more physically accurate to the character just off what we've seen. So again, it just doesn't make sense to make a definitive statement like that saying Sasha's version is, you know, better. She was cool, but she wasn't really that explored to a full degree like what we're gonna get here, so it's just nonsensical to say that her version is definitively better, especially since we haven't seen the full movie. What's Superman like? He sees the good in people, I see the truth. This is more of the same crap and I'm sick of it. The female superhero can't stand on her own unless she's putting down the male.
What?
And having the dog pee on Superman? Fuck off with that. This has to be rage bait. Like, there's no way. There's no way this is serious. Like, she wasn't even putting him down. She was just saying that she has a different point of view than he does. Like, what the fuck? The dog is peeing on Superman? No, the dog is peeing on the newspaper. Dogs pee on newspapers. Like, what? Yeah, I think we're done here. Anyways, guys, that's gonna be it for the video. Let me know what you guys think. If you like what you see, be sure to like the video, share, comment on the video, and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you guys so much for watching, and yeah, I'm out. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.